Just wow. Just wow. Auburn Tigers go to Waco, Texas. They take care of business. And while the Alabama Crimson Tide continues to struggle under Kalen DeBoer, we've got it covered from wall to wall this morning. Welcome into Three-Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly, Conrad Van Order will be calling in at 11 o'clock. Had a lot of people text in and ask me how Conrad's been. I have not communicated with Conrad since right after the game, I suppose, based on the video that I saw him post on social media. I guess he's okay. But based on our text line of the text messages that we've already downloaded, and the more that the text messages continue to come in, Landrum, this is a fan base that is teetering right now. Like that, they are extremely concerned about the prognosis of this Alabama football team.
Well, and they absolutely should be, with good reason. I believed that Alabama in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer was going to be markedly better. I believed that Ryan Grubb coming in as one of the top offensive coordinators in the country, Alabama was going to be better. I believed with the country's best, you could argue, talent returning last year and this year, that Alabama was going to be better. And I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. After 14 games, I've seen it from Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer is a very, very good coach. I have serious doubts that Kalen DeBoer will be a great coach at Alabama.
I think that's what a lot of people are asking themselves. But as I tweeted out this weekend after diving and looking into his contract, because I had a lot of people really at halftime texting me that question. So what's his contractual status? Kalen DeBoer is the 7th highest paid coach in college football. He's making around $10.25 million a year to coach Alabama. He just got a new extension. It's a situation where Alabama would owe him 90% of what's left on a $77 million contract. So just doing the math, roughly, that's around $69.3 million. Alabama cannot afford to pay him $69.3 million. Alabama does not have the money. That would bankrupt the University of Alabama if you had to turn around and pay him $69.3 million. It's not happening. The only way they can get rid of him and save some money, if it's a situation where you fire him for cause, if there's something in the contract that he does, morality, whatever the case may be, then it's a completely different story. If not, you're stuck with him. It's the same conversation that LSU people have been having about Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's low 60 million, something like that, to get rid of him. Do I think that there might be somebody that could write a check? Maybe, perhaps, but it's just not happening. So Alabama has got to figure this out with Kalen DeBoer. I was told in the offseason that Kalen DeBoer, obviously in a very nice way, he was pretty much had these conversations with people around the university, how important it is. Just a reminder that you are the head coach at the University of Alabama, and a 9-4 season is not going to cut it, period.
Well, and I found, and it was not pile on Kalen DeBoer weekend at my house, but my wife, she was saying, oh, you know, I feel bad for Kalen DeBoer. Well, I guess on a personal level do too, but professionally, Kalen DeBoer was not forced to take this job. Kalen DeBoer absolutely knew who he was following, the greatest of all time. He knew what the expectation was at Alabama. I know that there was a friendly reminder in the offseason, but Kalen DeBoer knows what that expectation is. He's reminded every single day that he's on that campus and he's in charge of that program. And what we got Saturday, there is absolutely no excuse for it. Kudos to Florida State, FSU Dave. Enjoy it for the next year. But there is no excuse for what we saw. Florida State looked like they had the best player on the field in their quarterback, and Tommy Castellanos. They look faster. They look more aggressive. They hit Alabama in the mouth. After Alabama goes down and they score the touchdown when the quick little toss to Cuevas, FSU responds. They hit Alabama in the mouth, and Alabama never responded.
Tied almost 12 minutes of possession in the first quarter. It was tied 7-7. Just think about that.
Yeah.
The first drive, you could not have drawn it up any better. The way the Alabama offense just bludgeoned the defensive front of FSU.
Yeah.
Between the tackles. It looked like, joyless murder ball. Something that we saw time and time again under Nick Saban. But Alabama only had 148 yards of offense in the first half. And that is after they got 73 on the opening drive of the first half of the game.
If it wasn't for Jeremy Bernard being wide open, what offense do they have?
Jeremy Bernard is the only person on the offense that showed up to play.
He found himself all alone on at least 3 or 4 different occasions that I can think of, and it was the easiest throws that Ty Simpson could have made. But other than that, where did their offense come from?
Yeah, and then you got to look at the Alabama defense.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, the Seminoles averaged 4.7 yards per rush. They averaged almost 17 yards per completion. Worse, they converted 5 of 12 third downs and fourth downs against the Alabama defense. But Alabama's offense, and I'm like you, I know we're going to get a lot of criticism because they're going to say, well, you guys have been mouthpieces for this Tuscaloosa. You know, people in Tuscaloosa tell you this and that. All we can do is go by the people that we obviously trust and people that are behind the scenes and they get to watch practices and they get to see things that maybe the general public doesn't get to see. And there was a lot of optimism. And I'm not saying that the season's done. Keep in mind, folks, that Notre Dame lost at home to Northern Illinois last year and played for the national championship. Am I predicting that Alabama's going to play for the national championship after this loss? No, I am not. I'm just telling you, we have to get out of the mentality of the old days. And the old days mentality is losing one game the season is over with. Same thing if Baylor would have beaten Auburn on Friday night. That would not have meant that the Auburn season is over with. So we just kind of pump the brakes on that. But it is concerning if you're an Alabama fan because we've got more tape now of Kalen DeBoer as the head coach of Alabama. That's the concerning part.
We've seen Alabama lose 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah. I mean, this is, and I said it Friday. If we're here on Monday, which we are, and we're talking about an Alabama loss, we have already seen a developing trend of Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa, and it is a disturbing one. And if you owed him $30 million instead of $69 million, then we're probably having an even more different conversation than what we're having. But Alabama's offense had 7 drives in Florida State territory. 7. They got 3 points. 7 drives in their territory, 3 points. To me, it looked like Ty Simpson got complacent after taking that 7-0 lead. You heard his head coach after the game saying he's just got to fire it. Like he has just got to let it rip because there were opportunities there and he just didn't throw it. I mean, he was taking care of the ball, which I was told all throughout the fall that he's done a really good job with. And it was just like he was scared from that point. Listen, you're down 14 on the road. You got to let it fire. Like you got to let it rip. I mean, Ryan Williams dropping balls. Of course, he got a concussion later on, but it was a confluence of really bad things happening in Tallahassee, and they just couldn't overcome them.
Well, with Ty Simpson, it was like he was trying to overcompensate after not letting it rip, and then you were getting the 100-mile-an-hour heater no matter where he was throwing the football. Just didn't seem like himself. Going back to the defensive side of the ball, Pat, how many short side of the field touchdowns did we see from Florida State where Alabama defense just used the boundary as an extra defender, force him out of bounds, and those guys were able to tightrope the sideline and get into the end zone?
Well, yeah, not only that, but so many missed tackles.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, there was bad tackling, no pass rush. There wasn't a consistent running game for Alabama. The pass protection was questionable. The inability of the Alabama wide receivers, for the exception of Jeremy Bernard, to get open. Isaiah Horton had 1 catch for 6 yards. I mean, for a position group that was supposed to rival Auburn as one of the best in the country, where were they? I mean, you can't get separation against that Florida State team. It's mind-boggling. But Alabama had 14 missed tackles versus Florida State. And that's per Pro Football Focus. That was 2 more than the worst missed tackles of 2024. Just terrible.
Oh, you made Sawchuck look like Sammy Smith at times. And how many times we said it ad nauseum over Gus Malzahn? Did Gus Malzahn? Did you see anything from Gus Malzahn you've never seen from Gus Malzahn?
No,
before?
not at all.
No, he did exactly what Gus Malzahn does,
Yeah,
and you knew exactly how he was going to use Tommy Castle. No excuse for that. The Alabama defense looked either ill prepared or where they were. It seemed in the right set and where they were supposed to be. they missed tackles, as you said, or they were not aggressive enough, and they got beat at the point of attack. It was just bad all the way around.
Yeah, linebackers were extremely porous. Justin Jefferson, he missed 4 tackles. Deontay Lawson, who was supposed to be
Your leader,
your leader, your all-world, your quarterback there on the defensive side, he missed 3 tackles. Bray Hubbard, he missed 3. Keon Sabb missed 2. You see the developing theme here. Just bad fundamentals.
And all right, let's throw in the third facet of the game. We talk about special teams. All we've heard is you've struggled with your field goal kicking.
Yeah.
That's been a problem in camp, but let's line up and let's try a 50-something yard field goal.
I mean, Landrum, I think you and I, if we went out in the parking lot right now, I think that we could have kicked one about as far as Connor Talty did. That was bad. That was absolutely horrendous. Well, that information that we got from Tuscaloosa was absolutely spot on. Because
they were dead on that one.
I mean, the 2 areas that I was told going into Saturday's game that was problematic for Alabama, and I shared this on the show, was defensive line. All during fall camp, they've been concerned about that. And then when you lose Tim Keenan, then it just, oh my gosh, it's going to just magnify it even more. And special teams. Those were the 2 areas.
Tim Keenan would have helped.
But that doesn't mean that they would have won.
I don't think that Tim Keenan, with all due respect, Tim Keenan's not changing the outcome of that game. Another piece of intel, though, that was accurate. Alabama offense was able to take care of the football during camp.
Mm-hmm.
Took care of the football.
They did.
Can't blame it on that.
No. Can't blame it on a wet field. No. Can't blame it on wet footballs. I mean, it's just a bad game. But that trend that we were talking about with Kalen DeBoer, I will never forget. Under Gene Stallings, it infuriated Alabama fans galore. Not because Alabama was winning, but because Alabama never covered. I mean, Stallings was like, I don't care if it's 1 point. Win's a win. Now, all the illegal bettors running around Birmingham and Tuscaloosa and other parts in the South, they were irritated because Alabama never covered. Well, hate to tell folks this about Kalen DeBoer. He was a 13.5-point favorite at kickoff, and you lost straight up. You were a 13.5-point favorite against Michigan, who had everyone opt out, and you lost straight up. You were a 13.5-point favorite in Norman, Oklahoma, with no wide receivers to their credit and only Jackson Arnold running the football. You lost straight up. You were a 23-point favorite in Nashville against Vanderbilt, and you lost straight up. I'm not talking about covering. I'm talking about you losing straight up. And don't forget, you were a 3.5-point favorite against Tennessee, and you lost. So that's not good. Not good at all. Taking losses and then also taking losses to teams that you were supposed to beat and beat easily.
If that was a true representation of what we're going to get, if that was a true representation of what we're going to get for Alabama the rest of the season, now the question is, it's not, will they lose again? How many losses? Is this an 8-4 football team?
Well, Molly, right after the game, we posted on the 3-man front Twitter poll. We did an emergency poll, and it's been going since the final whistle blew in Tallahassee. Go ahead and read the question. And so far, we're close to 1,000 people voting on this.
Yeah, so for our instant poll, we asked, how many regular season games does Alabama win this season? Gave you 4 options. We gave you 10, 8, 7, and 6. And right now, winning with about 42% of our voters voting for 8 wins, 27% saying 7, 19% saying only 6 wins, and about 18% saying 10 wins.
And I know a lot of people on Twitter and our text line has said, well, we wanted to go 5 wins, but you guys did not give us that option.
We've had a lot of those.
Yeah. So where Alabama goes from here, we will open up the phone lines because we're here. We're live on Labor Day. 1-800-239-WJOX. The Courtesy GMC text line has, let's just say, it's been a complete meltdown.
It's going to need to be sprayed with Clorox.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We will get to those text messages as well. 11 o'clock, Conrad Van Order will call into the show. We'll see how our teammate is doing. He is still down in the Florida Panhandle in Destin. We'll hear from him. 11:30, 12 noon, we'll hear from Kalen DeBoer. So we'll have those comments, and Bill Clark